Welcome to another episode of Freshly Baked with TMC. I'm your co-host, Erik MacPherson, along with my business partner and homeboy, Chad Stamm. What's up, Chad?
Hey, good morning. I guess we're recording, huh? This is live. This is the real thing.
Why not? I mean, it's freshly baked.
Well, it's true. It's been proofed and rising for a couple years now. We've been away from the mics for a little bit, right?
We have, like you said, it's been a year since we actually recorded an episode of Freshly Baked, and obviously, year and a half ago, things were kind of crazy in a different way. But what the crazy now is just the speed of everything moving from a digital growth perspective and across the board, and especially in our industry too, and the change going on there. But hey, look, we've got a different format today that we're excited about, right? Our special guest is one of TMC's own now, Melissa McFarland, and we want to welcome her as part of this show, which is going to be really exciting. So what's up, Melissa?
Yay, thank you. Hi guys, thanks for having me. Super excited, a little nervous, pumped. It's my first podcast ever, so just gonna roll with it. And yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Melissa, I'm gonna ask the question that everyone's wondering right now. Are you related to Seth?
I wish I was, but I am not. No. A lot cooler if I was.
We're going to create a crazy story on how you're connected to Seth MacFarland, and then that's going to be your MO.
That'd be awesome. My maiden name is Koss, K-O-S-S. So if you're familiar with any of the old headphones, but I'm also not related to that Koss as well.
I was a DJ, so I think I had a pair of Koss back in the day.
Probably. I don't know if they still manufacture those or not. I have no idea, but
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, so I mean, welcome to the TMC team. Obviously, you're really fresh with us in terms of this being your first month. I think. Yep. Like when you started, what? Like, is it 4 weeks now?
Yeah, October 1st was day one. So yeah, we're going into week 4 already.
Awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, time flies when you're having fun and when you're busy and in a whirlwind that we're in. So yeah, let me tell us a little bit about, give us a little bit of your background, how we all came together, and just a little bit of background.
First real job out of school was with Star Manufacturing. So everybody knows Star. Tim Gaskell was kind enough to give me a chance, which my credentials and background did not fit what they were looking for, but I guess he had a little faith or who knows what, but yeah, he gave me the chance. So I was with Star for 11 years and I was in the marketing department, and it was amazing. We started off as publicly owned company, and then Middleby came in and bought us out, and we started integrating.
For those that, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but for those that don't know Star, we have some viewers and some listeners that don't know who Star Manufacturing is. What do they do? What do they manufacture?
So Star started off with popcorn machines and hot dog roller grills. So they've grown, but now they manufacture all your charbroilers, griddles. But if you go into a C-store and you look at the hot dog roller grills, they're usually a Star grill. So look for the Star grills. They do from concession equipment all the way up to the heavy duty griddles and charbroilers.
Nice, cool.
What do you miss the most about those days, and what about your experience at Star kind of led you back to the food service industry?
Yeah, definitely the people. I mean, the people that I grown to know, made friends with. You're still friends with them, but it's definitely the people. All the chefs that would come in and prepare, testing, or they're doing demos, and there's always food in the office, fresh food from the chefs. So then after I left Star, I took a short time off to raise my 2 babies, and decided it was time to go back to work. My youngest one's in kindergarten, started kindergarten. So I just knew right away, I wanted to get back into the industry. That's where my passion is. I've had the most fun. I've kind of dabbled during the 5 years that I took off from a real job. I use quotes, but did a lot of freelancing, kept those relationships, but just knew I miss the people. I miss the energy. There's so much passion in this industry, and I just knew I needed to get back in. So yeah, I had a couple of friends point me towards you guys. I knew you were hiring and I thought I'd be a good fit.
I completely agree with you with the food service industry. It really is about people and it's about energy. And that's one of the things that's always drawn me to it as well. And I think it's neat to kind of share that connection. And, one of the things that I most miss about the pre-COVID world, and I'm still living sort of in a bubble, so to speak. And hopefully my son can get his shot here in the next couple of weeks from what I'm hearing. And my mother-in-law, who is immunocompromised, can get her booster, which is going to allow us to drop our firewall. And one of the things that I'm most looking forward to is going back into a packed diner on a Sunday morning and hearing the silverware hitting the plates and the ice clinking into the glass and the coffee being poured and just the sounds and the energy and
Sure,
and all the
trays being
activity.
dropped. Yep.
Yeah. So I think we're close to being back in those times where everyone and not just, I know some people everyone's comfort level is different and everyone has different considerations that they're dealing with, but I think we're close to going back to that place. So in terms of food, you actually have a little bit more of a background, not just in food service equipment marketing, but you're actually creating food. I mean, show me the honey, right?
Right. Yeah, I am. Definitely I'm a vegetable, if you want to say farmer. We have about 5 acres and we don't farm all of that right now, but we consider it's a micro farm. So we got a couple of the acres actually parceled and we have like a farm number, like a farm plot number. We grow vegetables and this year we decided to start growing them and selling them at the local farmers market just to help produce, clean organic food for the community. And we donate a lot as well. The food pantries, they don't get a lot of perishables, or if they do get a lot of perishables, it's stuff from the stores. They're just, kind of old and probably not organic. We're, big on not using any type of pesticides or anything like that. But yeah, it's amazing. It's taught me so much. It's taught me to slow down, to just have patience and, you can't control everything, especially can't control nature. So it's a lot of life lessons that I've learned from this, our little start off as a passion and then it's like a part-time job basically now. But and we keep bees. We have 3 beehives on the property as well to help pollinate all those vegetables and they're just at a decline too. So it's kind of feel like we're doing our part to, help keep them alive and protected. And it's incredible. It's a lot of work, but it's my passion. That's for sure.
Awesome. You wear the whole gear and everything, like when you're out there. Like, I mean, I don't know much about
Overalls.
No, around the bees.
Oh, the bees. I thought you meant like a farmer's persona, and I definitely wear a hat.
Hey, I'm in Atlanta. I'm in the South, so I see overalls. Like, women wear overalls around here all the time.
Definitely, I get the purpose of them. But with the bees, it depends on what we're doing. They're typically really docile, and they're not going to attack and go after you. So if we're going in there just to do like a typical hive check and look at the frames, you don't have to wear, or I usually don't wear my gear, just because you're not messing with the honey and you're not messing with the queen. But if you start digging in, then you definitely need to gear up or suit up, I should say, and put your bee suit and veil on. Because they always go for the head. The bees like to sting the face for some reason, so I got to keep that protected. But funny story, we got a phone call from a friend that spotted a swarm of bees. They're actually in Walmart parking lot, so they're attached to a shopping cart. So a friend called us, said, hey, you have any room or any extra boxes? And we thankfully did. So my husband went up and he rescued the bees from Walmart parking lot, which was really cool. And they're actually a really aggressive group of bees. So if we're ever messing with that hive, we definitely have to gear up. But
you can rescue bees and like they'll just start their environment right there, like giving it. Yeah.
It is crazy. So the reason why bees swarm is because their hive is too full or too crowded. So about half of them will leave and then they have to rest. So they usually stop somewhere, and then there's scout bees that fly away to go look for a new location for them to start a new colony. So, and then there's always a queen with them as well. Otherwise, they have no purpose. The queen is the sole purpose of the colony, basically. So yeah, they find a resting spot, and usually it's not a good spot, like this incident here, the Walmart parking lot. So we were just scared that the employees would come out and just spray them, just kill them, just for safety reasons for customers and employees, so they wouldn't get stung. So yeah, we got there right away. And but yeah, it's also, beekeepers love swarms because they're freebies. Otherwise you have to literally purchase like a package of bees, which is like 4 pounds of bees, and they're like $200 a package, and that fills up an entire hive or frame. So it's, beekeepers love to get those swarms if they can, because free bees.
So there's a lot to unpack right there. There's a lot to unpack, and
I know
my mind is freaking blown in so many different ways. I could just see that phone call. Hey, I got a live one over here. Do you have any room over there? Can I bring these guys over? I can't even imagine getting that phone call and to be stuck on a Walmart shopping cart. I mean, you basically took them to the penthouse from wherever they were living. And my mind is blown that there's scout bees and half, it's like the Great Migration here. I feel like someone should make a film about the hive of bees that started off at a Walmart shopping cart and wound up in your backyard. That could be a kids movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a kid. There is a bee movie, actually, a kids movie. It's really great.
It's with Jerry Seinfeld, right? Jerry Seinfeld is the voice.
That's right.
That's right.
But going back a little bit, you said something that stood out to me as really insightful, and I'd like to kind of get more thought from you on this, because you mentioned that farming and the work that you do on your property, it's taught you patience and it's taught you to slow down. And in a lot of ways, I feel like we live in a marketing world where everyone is looking for instant gratification. People are looking to put a blog post up and wake up the next morning to 5 people ready to buy their products. And we all know that that's not the way the world works. So I guess the question here is the patience that you've learned on your property. How could that translate into the digital world and clients looking to make inroads on the internet?
Mm-hmm. It's a really good point. You bring up the blog aspect. So say you post a blog, and 2 days later, you're, like you said, you're expecting to see instant gratification. You're expecting to see, your email full of leads and whatnot, but it's just not how it works. It takes time for the SEO to kick in and start working, in your favor. So basically, you have a tiny seed, and from that seed, you plant it, it sprouts. From seed to harvest is typically 3 months, depending on the vegetable. So obviously you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to do a lot of planning in order to have a successful harvest. And it kind of ties into the marketing as well. You have your initial idea, you put it into action, and then you unfortunately have to wait for results, just like harvesting a vegetable or whatever you're growing. But yeah, definitely I think the industry needs to realize that absolutely things are changing dramatically and quickly for the better. They're utilizing technology more, but just having that plan following through and just the patience, just.
Along with that, which is really interesting, thinking about, a seed, and you're trying to plant as many seeds as you can fit within your space. That makes, obviously, I'm sure there's other things you got to take into consideration, but you got to plant all those seeds. You got to plant all those blog posts, and everyone's planting seeds now, right? I mean, like, everybody is out planting seeds. Everybody today is doing their own farming when it comes to their company and content, right? So that's where I think things have changed dramatically over this last couple of years, especially into this coming year. Because you can't just put out content and think that you're going to be number one on pages anymore, because unfortunately, so is everybody else. That's a really interesting analogy to think about it from that perspective. So
Yeah, and it makes sense too. I mean, if you plant too many seeds close to each other, they start competing. Each plant is competing for nutrients and water and root space. And it's just like our industry now. It's so flooded with competition that you have to put that love in to really stand out and make that splash.
So, great analogy. We're talking about, basically the digital transformation that's going on and how we're helping companies with that. How will you be helping companies with this digital transformation in terms of your role here at TMC?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a TMC member, I am a client success manager, and I'm super excited to help companies dig in and start utilizing the inbound methodology. Just going to be listening in on, customers' needs and their pain points. So, our job is to listen to those pain points and definitely help them find strategies and different methods to, help them succeed basically and get away from that pain. So fairly new to HubSpot and just the whole program itself, and HubSpot is amazing. So definitely going to get those clients on board and, all those tools that we can utilize and help them, look at those reports, look at the numbers, look at real-time results, which is really amazing. But
so you're client facing, you manage accounts, you're doing strategy, consulting, planning. You came from a design background, right? Where
yeah.
Brochures, and so you think back to that time when you were back with Star, et cetera, and as you're coming through and becoming a marketer, how do you feel marketing has changed since then, and even over the past year?
It's changed so much. I mean, from 5 years ago when I was with Star, everything was still being printed and mailed. Like, we would do in-house mailing. We had a list of about 3,000 people. We would literally print off letters, shove brochures in an envelope, and then mail them off. It was so time consuming, and that's going away, and it's going away quickly. I think the amount of time and money companies are saving from not having to print it's incredible. So now everything is digital, and if you're not in the digital world, I highly recommend you get on board now, because you're just going to be left behind. It's moving so quick and it's changing so fastly. But I mean, websites, we were lucky if we had a website back then that people would just jump on to find a phone number. But now they're complete, tools. There's everything. There's spec sheets, images, everything you can dream of is on a website now. So definitely your website presence needs to be on point, and it has to look good too. It's basically the face of your brand. So it's incredible how much has changed, and I'm learning so much already, and just gonna keep digging in and learning more. But
one of the things you mentioned about catalogs, I want to follow up with that, and I'm curious to know. Let's say you created a catalog for Star, and you printed 10,000 of them. How many people read those?
Yeah, I mean, I believe a lot of the dealers and end users actually utilize them, but the reps would actually use them for just collateral. So they would have, a stack of price lists they would walk into a dealership with, or they would visit an end user, and then they had something to pass out. So I think that was kind of their cushion. They had something in their hand to leave behind. But as far as like the brochures, I'm not sure if they had a huge impact. The price list obviously did, because people needed to look up specs and pricing. But as far as the brochures, besides for handing them out at
or take
trade shows
anything,
and all that,
take anything for that matter, like whether it's a brochure or a sales sheet, were you able to track how many pairs of eyeballs saw that particular catalog?
you have no idea. Nope, you're not. And that's the beauty of the digital world too, is you're able to now. You can.
That's exactly where I was going. I think it's
good point.
We're in a world now where we're not tracking fingerprints on a cover page, trying to figure out. And that's what it would have taken. You would have had to hire a guy from CSI, Middleby and going out there and printing the sheet to see who was actually looking at it. That would have been the only way to find out. Aside
Mhm.
from like a verbal, hey, I saw your catalog. And now we live in a world where the fingerprints, the marketing fingerprints are they're cookied. They're on websites. They're in emails. And as you were mentioning, it's all in real time. If you want to know whether John Doe looked at my email before 10 o'clock this morning, I can go and I can find that information out. And that's, to me, that's the mind blowing thing. And you mentioned learning, and you mentioned HubSpot, and I'd like to kind of talk to you a little bit about the Inbound conference, which HubSpot just put on. And unfortunately, this year again was the second year that it was virtual, but I still feel like a lot of the information was transferable. Maybe not the energy that we typically get in person, but certainly the information was there. And I'm curious to hear your initial takes on what it was like to go through an Inbound conference, and what some of the takeaways that you had and that you found are applicable for TMC and for marketing in the food service space.
There was so many great takeaways with that conference. It was 3 days long, I believe. The first ever virtual conference as well. So it was very different than being in person, but there was the speakers, if you're a good speaker, it doesn't matter if you're virtual or in person, you're still going to rock your space. And there's so many great speakers. But the main key takeaway from that, all 3 of those days, is we have to embrace the idea that it's the age of the customer. Everything is changing drastically, and the customers, they have so much more leverage and power with how we market.
There's a lot of opportunity. I think, because that was one of my takeaways too. I had two, and that was certainly one of them, is that we're living in the age of the customer. We're living in an era where gatekeepers are going away, where things are becoming decentralized, where the blockchain is gaining more and more significance day by day in terms of the applications for it. And I'm not just talking about using it as a currency. I'm talking about being able to take a box of lettuce that's shipped out to Chipotle's across the country, and if there's a bad head of lettuce in there, tracing it back to that single box, knowing exactly which stores to pull from. I mean, there are applications that are ahead of us that are changing the way everything is going to work. And for me, it's so exciting. It's opportunity.
Marketing now is so much more humanized too. It's not about what the company can do for you, basically. It's what we can do for the customer. So a lot of the marketing and strategy is targeting people's problems. Everybody's looking for a solution. You go online and you type in something, you're looking for a solution. And a lot of companies are changing their strategy to kind of touch those points too, and really reach the person, not just talk about hey, we've been around since 1920, we sell this and this. Like there's no emotion there. So I think a lot of companies are just trying to tie in and hit those those human love strings, and we're listening more, we're loving more, we're learning more. And yeah, the customers definitely are our core. They're our center of everything we do.
And because things are changing, and because this is the way they've always used to do it, a lot of times they don't even know, and I'm speaking for our clients, like where to even go. What's the next step? What do I need to be doing? Right. And the other part that I think is super interesting too, as we talk about Inbound. Inbound started 10 years ago, I think was the first one. I think this was there 10 or even maybe 11 or 12, but Inbound was the term was started by HubSpot, right? Inbound marketing, meaning bringing people in instead of shouting out to everybody. It's harder and harder to bring people in now. I mean, when you think about inbound, all right, I mean, you have to do outbound as well today in order, even like paid ads. There's so many other ways that you have to get people in versus just thinking about, hey, I can put a couple blog posts on my website and I'm going to bring in all this organic traffic, right? Like that just doesn't work anymore. It used to some 8-9 years ago when we all first started out here at TMC. And like what we're doing right now is so important. Audio, video, thought leadership. I don't know if you guys saw in FES magazine that the recent email that came out. Did you guys see that with, I'm not going to name the name of the company, the manufacturer, but they have an entire email that's on thought leadership and videos from all of their executives on every single, thing they want to talk about. But their whole entire page and digital ad is thought leadership by this company. Check it out. It's worth looking at. But that's where we got to get to. Yes, your product is great. Everybody's product is great, right? But it's about people. Going back to what you originally were talking about in this industry, it's about people, and it's about not only just having beers with everybody and going golfing, which is part of it, but it's how are you being a thought leader in your industry, especially from an executive level?
To me, it goes back to that opportunity, and it's everybody's reinventing themselves. It's like we had a 200-page novel and we threw it up in the air and all the pages fell back down. And now we're reordering the chapters in the ways that we maybe would have liked to have seen them in the first place. And you know what else that goes back to with inbound, for me, the second takeaway was intuition and instinct, and following that, not being blindsided by ambition or a sale, like a short sale, but having a long-term perspective on where things are going, and having the gumption to actually make choices to get there. And I think for us as a company, as an agency, Melissa, bringing you on was a great way, a great representative of kind of that instinct and that intuition, and we followed that, and it's representative of our commitment to this industry. And listen, could we have gone out and hired somebody that has insurance background or has a background in healthcare and pharmaceuticals to grow our agency in that direction? Of course we could have. But I think bringing you on board and over the last month, the way that you've communicated and the way that you fit in, and even more important, fit in with our clients, it's just representative to me that we're doing that we're following our instincts, that we're following our intuition, and we're committed to an industry that, let's be frank, still needs to change.
Mm-hmm. And who's changing the industry? Marketing.
We are.
Marketing is leading the way in terms of this disruption that's happening in these companies that has to happen, right? What's driving that? Data. Everybody needs data, wants data now. You have to have systems in place for that. A big takeaway from inbound for me was this whole RevOps, revenue operations, and I really think we're all going to dig into that really, really deep here in 22, because that is where it all works together, from the strategy and planning to the tech systems and everything in between, with performance and metrics. And the CFO wants to know, hey, what business impact did this bring to our company? You know what? RevOps is responsible for showing that at the end of the day and working with all these different groups, and should have the ability to do that in a lot of sense. So RevOps, I'm really interested to see where that goes, especially in our space. And if there's anyone that's going to lead the way in the food service equipment manufacturing world of really truly embracing what RevOps is, and us helping them get there with that.
Yeah, and taking the chance too, kind of piggybacking off what Chad said with intuition. Seems like a lot of these companies are just scared to try something different, something that nobody else is doing. I think there needs to be more chance taking, test new things out, it was a huge, awesome speaker on the emails, just different subject lines, adding emojis. There's so much science and thoughts that go into the strategy of email marketing, but just trying new things. What's one different email going to hurt? You change it up to test it out, see if it's going to get more opens. Just try different things. It doesn't have to be stale. It doesn't have to be all sales. Have fun with your marketing. That's what it's about.
That's right. And what he said was that, at the end of that email is a person. And that's,
Right.
We're not necessarily sending an email to a company. We're sending it to a person.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And you said it. You said the word earlier, Chad, significance. How can we continue to be significant, not only as a company, but to each individual, whether it's individuals that work in our company or that we're trying to do business with and partner with. there's got to be that significance factor, and whatever that is. And that's something that's, I think, going to be fun to continue to define what that really means and go there with that. So more on that in another episode, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I have a feeling significance could be a theme over the next few months.
Well, what do you say we jump on into a little baker's dozen?
I don't know. Melissa, are you ready for this?
I don't know what that is.
This is a lightning round. We're gonna drop a question or a phrase, and you're gonna give us the first thing that comes to your mind.
No explanation, just shout it out.
Just shout it out.
All right.
I'll kick it off. Are you ready?
Ready.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure, but let's go.
Okay. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite restaurant?
Illuminati's.
Great choice. Great choice. Leafy vegetables or root vegetables?
Leafy vegetables. Kale for life.
Kale for life.
Kale is life. Kale is life.
What about your favorite outdoor activity?
Erik, did you have a response to the kale's life?
Nope. I'm good on that. Just no stems, please.
Gosh. Favorite I love hiking. Definitely hiking.
First job?
Jewel Asco. I was a stalker in Chicago when I was 16. Shelf stalker.
Nice. Most people start their careers in food service, by the way, just like you. What about your favorite place in the world?
Lake Michigan. There's a spot we used to fish with my dad. We used to go smelt fishing, and anytime I get the chance to go back, we usually just hang out down by the lake. It's pretty cool. Got a little beach area and a bunch of rocks you can climb on, but just a lot of great memories there.
And when you're on that beach sitting on the lake, what book were you reading?
I was probably not reading a book, but I'm currently reading Trail of Terror's book. I'm in between that and then a book called How to Change Your Mind. I believe it's a Michael Pollan book. But
He's one of my favorites.
he's amazing.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a vet. I had a passion for animals when I was really young, but I didn't want to go through all the schooling. So
Did you grow up?
no, why would you grow up? Never grow up.
I agree.
What's the best thing about where you live?
The lush scenery. We live in a beautiful, Missouri is a beautiful state. Southern Missouri has mountains and lots of water and trees. I think it's a gorgeous state.
What was your first car?
Do I have to answer this?
Yes.
So I'm one of 6 kids. I'm one of 6. My mom got me a Dodge Caravan. I was a little Dodge Caravan, basically so I can haul everybody around and drive them to practice and school and whatnot. So I was 16, 17 driving a damn van. It was awful. Awful.
I had one too, by the way. My parents had one. Sometimes I had to take it. It was called the grocery getter.
What did you miss the most during the pandemic?
Being able to hug people. I'm a hugger. There's a lot of close family members that same thing, immunocompromised, and taking it very seriously. Grandparents we had to be cautious around, and so just being close to people, like physically close.
And if you were to pick one place in your town to buy baked goods, where would you go?
We just recently, there's 2 bakeries, I believe, that just opened. So we live in a smaller town. We don't have a lot of options, but we have a main street, which is actually starting to grow, and there's restaurants coming in and whatnot. So there's a brand new little bakery on Main Street. I don't remember the name of it because I've only been there once, and they just opened up, but they make amazing little sugar cookies. So I'll look up the name and find them out. Sorry, guys. No shout out to you today, but
Sure, we'll tag them later.
Yeah, we can add it.
Okay.
Hey, look, we are super excited to have you on board with us, Melissa. Obviously, you're so well respected in the industry and beyond, and you're going to have a lot to offer the clients. We're super excited about it. We're super excited about you helping us get to our next level at TMC. And really thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. That was fun talk, guys. Thank you.
And the biggest thing I feel like is yes, the commitment to the industry, and you have a background and all that, but just the fact that you fit in with us and who we are, and we're all kind of the same types of people, and we can have dumbass conversations and not take ourselves too seriously. And I feel like you fit in with our culture, and I think to me that is the biggest representation of instinct, intuition, is making sure that you bring people on board that you enjoy spending time with, because we all spend a lot of time together.
Oh, yeah,
Very true.
definitely.
Very true. It makes this episode where, we've had to dust everything off, dust off our equipment and everything. This makes it so much easier for us to get back into this freshly baked podcast, since it's been a minute since we've been on it. So, we're looking forward to talking a lot more about this digital transformation that we're all going through. We're talk about a lot more strategy and not just marketing, really business growth moving forward. So looking forward to this next season, man. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and appreciate you being our first guest of the new season, Melissa.
I'm honored. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Melissa.
Cheers.
Welcome to the team. Thanks again for everybody for listening, tuning in. Look forward to the next episode of Freshly Baked with TMC. Thanks again, Melissa. Chad, we'll talk later, man.
We are
Bye,
out.
guys.
Peace.